Welcome to our Multiplier event. We are meeting today as a part of the OER-CODEX Erasmus Plus project. And OER-CODEX stands for Open Education Resources for Collaborative Online Distance Education and Exchange. And today we want to disseminate the results of our project from cluster 2 and 3, guide you through the project, give you the possibility to get to know us, to get to know what we have created so far, and also offer you the possibilities to get in touch with the piloting participants who have spent the last 1.5 years with us, testing the courses, running them, giving us feedback, and bringing their contribution and co-creating, so we can offer this space to you today. I will be sharing my presentation and guide you through the agenda for today. In case you have any questions, you could put them in the chat. I will review them later, or if there's something urgent, you can turn on your microphone and ask the question. As when I'm going to share the presentation, most probably I will not see the comments. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you. So as mentioned, welcome to the Multiplier event for Cluster 2 and 3. The event is hosted by the OER-CODEX Consortium, and these are the representatives of Dresden University of Technology, of EMUNI, of VDU, and FH Krems. For today, we will have approximately 1.5 hours together. We will guide you through the background of the project, as there are a lot of participants here who are not familiar with our project yet. We will introduce also the project framework and show you the basis, the foundation of our project, what it stands on. We will also introduce the online training program, the original version that was submitted and that was applied for when we were writing the project application, and the adjusted version that we have created once we realized, based on the interviews, on the focus group discussions with the participants, that we need to enhance our courses to make sure that the participants can get the overall picture when they join our project. There will be an introduction to online collaborative learning by Professor Dr. Eric Schaub, and then we will go to the project results and show you what has been created and piloted so far. So here we will be having the focus on the methodology on cluster 1, cluster 2, and cluster 3. And afterwards, as we promised in our email and in our registration, we will open up the possibility for you to register for the piloting of the course Digital Competencies that was created as a part of the adjusted version of the online training program. And then we will also show you the preview of the upcoming events and have some space for the Q&A session. Also, we have received a request from one of the participants regarding the certificates of attendance. Usually, we do not provide certificates of attendance during the Multiplier event. However, as a sign of gratitude for you spending the next 1.5 hours with us, we would love to provide the certificates of attendance to the participants who are joining us online only. We will be posting a link that you can use in order to register on MS Forms, and based on that list and registrations, we will be issuing the certificates. And please do it now, because it's not going to be possible after we finish the event. This is just for those who are present right now online with us. And you can click on the link, you can register, and during December, you will receive your certificate. So that was the organizational part, and now I would love to go over to the OER-CODEX project background. We applied for the project during the Corona period, Corona time, and back then we have analyzed that a lot of educators were confronted with the will to enhance their physical courses with online learning and to move towards the blended learning arrangements. However, they were lacking expertise. They were lacking also the technological skills. And there was no centralized initiative that could have supported the educators all over the world with some sort of materials, content, so they would know where they could start their efforts. So the educators were facing those challenges individually, and there was no solution on the organizational level. That was the point when we started to create the project application, and that exactly the reason motivated us to launch OER-CODEX. When I'm saying about us, or when I say we, I mean that we are represented by 4 universities. We have the VDU, represented by Oshra, Rutkini, and Gedre Tamulini, and they have the expertise in OER production and teaching, virtual mobility, distance learning and teaching. I also mean the Dresden University of Technology, represented by Professor Dr. Eric Schopp and by me, Nelly Ukova. We have the expertise in online collaborative learning, in learning analytics, and data-supported formative assessment. I'm also mentioning Emuni, represented by Nada Trank and Valery Dermol. Both of them have expertise in management in higher education, quality in tertiary education, e-classroom, and organizational learning, and also the IMC Fachhochschule Krems, represented by Sarita Paudel, who has the expertise in virtual reality, data science, artificial intelligence, and anomaly detection. That was our consortium, and that was also the input, the value that we wanted to have in OER-CODEX when we were creating the project. So when we got together and we were working on the project application and on how to tackle the mentioned problems on this previous slides, we once again highlighted that the challenge was in the fact that there was lack of international cross-institutional initiative to support the educators to implement online and blended learning arrangements in a systematic way. That's why we came up with an idea to create, on one hand, the open educational resources that would be available and accessible to everyone, and enhance them also with collaborative online learning. So the pilot participants who are taking our courses, they do get the content from us, the input. However, they also work in little teams, international teams, and they are creating OERs themselves. So they get the content that we provide them with, use it as a basis, and then create their own OERs as a part of the collaborative tasks. And that's why we could multiply the effect within the OER-CODEX project, and we'll keep on producing and producing new materials that can be used by other educators as well. So to this end, we have envisioned 6 project results, and this is basically the structure of the whole project. The first project result was the methodology. That was, on one hand, the handbook for us on how to create the OER courses that were created later on in different clusters. And on the other hand, it's also the handbook that can be used by the educators if they wish to create OER courses that have a OCL element component. The cluster 1 was dedicated to digital resources in online collaborative learning. Cluster 2 was dealing with online guidance and facilitation. The third cluster was dedicated to assessment and to the way we could trigger self-reflection with conversational agent technology. And cluster 4, here we're currently having our piloting stage, is dealing with gamification and virtual reality environments. And the 6th project results is the OER repository that will be available to you in March 2025, once we're done with the piloting of the courses and once the participants have created their own OERs as well. So what are actually open education resources? These are teaching, learning, or research materials that are accessible and available to everyone. They're placed in the public domain, and they are released with the intellectual property licenses that facilitate the free use, free adaptation, and distribution of those resources. And those open education resources are either in the public domain or they are licensed in a manner that gives everyone the possibility to use those materials without any obstacles. The main elements of OER are the tools and the platforms that are available to everyone, publicly available educational content, and the open license. The OER have the or run under the 5 principles of open publishing. Depending on the Creative Commons license, the OERs can be retained, they can be also reused, they can be revised, remixed, or redistributed. And every single author of the content decides him or herself which type of a license he or she wants to attribute to the content. So here we see some examples. The examples on the left side, they are more open to be reused, readjusted, changed. The examples of the licensing on the right side, they are very restrictive. So you as an author can also say that, for example, your content that you produce cannot be changed. It should be used in a way it is created. It can be redistributed and being forwarded to other people, but without the possibility to have any change. The second component of our project is the online collaborative learning. So we integrated it by the way we designed the collaborative tasks. Every team that goes through our piloting process has to deal with a task and to create an outcome that cannot be obtained alone. So we do organize and create the collaborative tasks in a way that you are forced to work with your team members, with peers, to provide an output that will be later on presented to the whole project consortium and also to the participants of the piloting stage. We also were taking care of the technical environment to offer the participants the possibility to have the interaction. We were working on the group configuration, making sure that international participants can engage with each other, can exchange their experiences, and to really make sure that the results that are being produced have the multi-perspectiveness. And of course, we also provided the support during the online collaboration. We have the consultation appointments, for example, where participants can ask their questions in case something remains unclear. We were guiding the groups, we're helping the groups to get together, to start working together. But this type of a support has decreased as we were progressing within the project, and the teams were starting to get adjusted to work together, to work with each other. So here we have the overview of the original program that was applied for when we were working on the project application. As I mentioned, there are 6 project results that are central to our project and that also show the structure of the whole project in general. We have the methodology, the handbook that we were using also for ourselves to create later on the courses in different clusters. And the 4 clusters you can see here have also courses inside them that we have envisioned when we were working on the project implication. And we have the OER repository where all of the produced materials and courses are displayed. As we were advancing through the project, we realized that we had to create another course that would help the educators bridge the gap between the digital resources course and the case study design, and I will show it in the next slides. Today, the focus of our Multiplier event is Cluster 2 and Cluster 3, online guidance and facilitation, and assessment and triggering self-reflection. So we're dealing here with e-tutoring, the professionalized pedagogical support that can be provided to students when they're working in teams collaboratively. We are talking about the formative assessment that the e-tutors are giving to the students so their group can reach the performance level much faster. And we are also mentioning the learning analytics and how the data-driven approach helps e-tutors to have better assessment of the groups and how through the conversational agents, we're able to trigger self-reflection in students and make sure that they do not just depend on the e-tutoring or on the course organizers. This is the new online program that we have, and this is exactly where we would invite you as well to join us, because the course on digital competencies that is displayed in Cluster 1 is the course that we originally did not plan to create, but based on the feedback, based on the focus group discussions that we were and evaluative sheets that we were receiving from the participants, we realized that we need to provide some extra material so the participants understand the importance of 21st century skills, of DIC Comp Edu, on online collaborative learning, how to organize it, how to start it, and also on the VCL framework that was established at our chair at our university and stands for Virtual Collaborative Learning, and allows the students to go through the collaborative online work while they're dealing with the case studies. And at this point, so you better understand the approach that is behind the online collaborative learning, I would like to hand over to Professor Dr. Eric Schopp, so he can introduce you to the OCL approach.
Thank you for the introduction, Nelly. A warm welcome. I'm overwhelmed today by those many participants. I count 141 online participants at this moment. And now I will share my screen. And I hope you can see the slide.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Now we can see it.
Okay, fine. So let me shortly introduce you to the background of what we're talking about today. This is my slide I always use to motivate. From the year 2008, Coyne said, universities, think about what jobs your students can get if they follow your courses. We have to design our courses in that way that our students can benefit, not for yesterday's, last century, but for today's century, for today's world. This world was described in 2015 as a shift from the manufacturing work to knowledge work. We are collaborating, latest since the COVID lockdown disruption, over large geographical distances, working from home in self-managing flexible teams, and the rise of the nomadic worker is characteristic for today's situation. We are also talking about what our students need to compete in this century, the 21st century skills. This is learning skills, literacy skills, life skills. You see in the web many different descriptions, but they all come around to these set of skills, which are then also described in a number of publications. But let's roll back again 23 years. 2001, shortly after the Bologna process was initiated in Europe. How did it start? The European education and training system has to encourage the personal growth of European citizens in three aspects. It's about skills, working together in groups with specialists from other disciplines, using ICT. Adaptability, the ability to learn about and adjust to new situations while staying independent and respecting others. And lastly, the mobility, being able to work and communicate with others across national boundaries. So it is about international competencies. It's about international skills, collaboration skills, communication skills. 2001. 2017, the European Commission published this book. It's also online. There's a self-assessment functionality there. I'm sure most of you will already be familiar with the DIC Comp Edu, the Digital Competence of Educators framework. This framework describes that, firstly, we, the educators, based on our professional competences, have to develop ourselves, coming from our professional engagement, acquiring new skills to use digital resources in teaching and learning, in assessment. By this, empowering the learners, and finally, what is our goal, to facilitate our learners' digital competences, enabling our students to creatively and responsively use digital technologies for information, communication, content creation, well-being, and problem solving. In details, this is described in this slide, and I just highlighted with the red color on the right side what we are talking about today, and what we are proud that we invented tools to qualify our students in these skills already far before 2017. It's about collaborative learning, self-regulated learning, active learning, actively engaging learners, so that information, media literacy, communication, content creation, responsible use, and problem solving can be achieved and developed with our students. We all are familiar as educators with Bloom's taxonomy of the rising levels of competences, remembering, understanding, being capable to apply, later on to analyze, reflect, evaluate, and finally create new or original work. That's the transfer skills we want to develop in our students, in the next generation in our society. So this is where collaborative online, extended now international learning comes into play. It is about creativity, waking up creativity in a collaborative international online context. So while we are describing mainly in our open education resource courses we are presenting today, COL, collaborative online learning, which of course can take place in one region, in one city, in one country or one continent. So it's fluid, but the I in COIL is very important in higher education. We are all familiar with the internationalization at home, having come up as a skill set we needed all in the lockdown era. But it is more, it's internationalization at your fingertips. So Erasmus Plus is fostering the physical mobility from students moving for a semester into another country and coming back and getting the credits acquired there, recognized back home. The ECTS, the European Credit Transfer System, the modern currency for our students. Well, we all know this. If we add on, or if we complement the physical mobility by distance teaching, we achieve a virtual mobility. This virtual mobility is by listening to international experts giving an expert talk in our local lecture hall, or by participating in an online seminar series from experts from all over the world. If we implement COIL, collaborative online international learning, then we talk of virtual exchange. We bring our learning students in that collaborative setting to the skill set that they exchange their experience, their cultural background, their professional skills, their methodologies, working together in teams while staying online, distributed maybe all over the world. Virtual exchange is what we finally want to develop, so that the collaborative, not only communicative skills of our students are developed. If we bring all this together, we talk about virtual mobility. And let me just shortly give you an example. In the last 2 years, we had a cooperation based on Erasmus Plus KA1 7.1 fundings between University of Technology Dresden and Epoca University in Albania, in Tirana. And this was a 2-month period more or less a whole semester, delivering 5 ECTS credits to each participating student and a grading. And it had been a cooperation between 15 students from EPOCA, physically moving to Dresden for just 1 week in the beginning of the semester. And 15 students from Dresden mingling with them in that first week, already opening up the case they were planned to collaborate on in teamwork as an open solution approach for the next 2 months. So building up trust, forming the teams, discussing the roles, making a contract, how do we proceed in the next months to come? And that was virtual exchange. Our Albanian friends moving back home and the teams established collaborating on a daily online base on the framework virtual collaborative learning, which we implement in our quite sophisticated COIL approach. And that is what is described in our OERs we are presenting today. Well, and finally, our students, for the last week of seminar wrap up and presentation, giving pictures on the results of their case study work, moved to Tirana. So as we see, from physical mobility to virtual mobility, virtual exchange, we can come to different implementations of virtual mobility. Well, history, since 2001, when I had a guest professorship in Poland, in Szczecin, we started with our COIL approach. We then named it based on a dissertation, a PhD thesis from a Hungarian candidate at my chair, VCL, Virtual Collaborative Learning. Up to now, we run more than 80 successfully completed VCL arrangements, as described shortly on the last slide, between our students and reaching out to international partners. As you see the colors here, it's about online communication, working together, learning together in groups, gaining new knowledge and experience. The VCL framework behind our approach will be presented in the next steps by Nelly Juchova in more details. It's about qualifying e-tutors who guide, who follow our student teams so that they do not get lost in the hyperspace out there in the web. Case study design, it's different if you design a case study just for a 90-minute seminar, or if you design a case study for 1 week, or for an extension of 2 months. You need a collaborative technical platform allowing the students freely to choose which media to use to achieve a certain communication. It could be synchronous video, asynchronous threads in discussion threads. It could be collaborating on an office document, on a shared presentation, etc., etc. And last but not least, the learning analytics, the data-driven approach to support assessment, support guidance, support feedback by the e-tutors and the course designers to close that framework. So, coming to the theoretical summarization, the key elements of VCL are a formal setting. So it's about learning goals and examinations, grades and credits in higher education, completely online, exploiting asynchronous and synchronous communication styles. We foster learning in mixed teams, internationally mixed teams, mixed by gender, mixed by study background, so it's interdisciplinary. And case study style learning with open scenarios and solutions being most authentic as possible under close supervision by qualified e-tutors. So we talk about situative learning. Our VCL framework behind our COIL approach consists of formal learning processes aligned with informal learning processes, which always take place in learning situations. So the formal process are manageable restricted conditions. It's a case study with defined tasks and predefined tools. You will get more information in a second. And the informal aligned learning processes give additional informal learning information, getting acquainted with tools, building up trust, getting a good atmosphere in the team, developing communication skills. The e-tutors mentioned are relevant for formative assessment on an individual and team level, and the educators, by the support of the e-tutors observations, come finally to the summative assessment and the grading for the ECTS. That was my short glimpse back, the big background, and I hand over again to Nelly Uchova for further details of our project.
Thank you, Professor Scholl. Before we will be switching to the project results, I'd like to ask Ray Shabani to turn on the microphone. She used to be a student and she participated in the exchange between EPOCA and Dresden University of Technology. And I think, Ray, you were also an e-tutor, right?
Yes, that's true. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I would like to give a briefing of my experience in this VCL. In my opinion, it has been an amazing experience. It has been full of learning. In the beginning, I didn't have any idea what was like virtual learning and how could I implement it, because in Albania, just like going into universities, it's only in the classrooms, but this experience gave to me a full insight on how to better be prepared. And also I got to know a lot of different people, and I've built a lot of friendships, which it is like very valuable for a lot of projects. And I would also add that I have like won a lot of experiences insight about the differences, cultures between Albania and Germany. And I'm very happy that I've been part of this project. And if I would have like another chance, I would do that too. And I would fully recommend to others if they think about.
Thank you, Ray. We just want you to also listen to the testimonials we will be having in the next few slides, piloting participants speaking about their experience. But Ray, she is talking from the perspective of the student who participated in such arrangements. And for us, it's always a great motivation to understand that we're doing the right thing, and that when we're creating COIL, when we're creating VCL, despite the fact that it does require additional resources from us, but it can offer the students the experience that they usually do not have. And this is always the best motivation and the best driver to keep on doing that. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much also.
And we're coming back to our program, to the project results. As I have already mentioned, the project results are divided into 6 parts within the OER-CODEX project. And the first project result was a methodology that was developed by Emuni. I see that Nada is with us. She and Valerie were mostly responsible for the development of the methodology. And there we created and we've written down the best practices, the design principles, the practical steps, how to develop engaging OER courses, how to integrate the online collaborative learning element there, and how to make sure that the participants who are joining such arrangements have a great experience. So the methodology is available on our website. It can be also downloaded. There we have described the didactical concept for the OER courses. You will find guidelines on how to formulate the learning aims, outcomes, how to develop the materials themselves, how to integrate the gamification approaches, how to run the online piloting, how to make sure that the quality assurance is taken care of, how to issue the certificates. So all of the details can be found in the methodology, and we are using it for our purposes as well whenever we are running and we're piloting our courses. So originally we were supposed to have 9 courses, and now it's 10. As I mentioned, due to the fact that we have adjusted the online program, and in the methodology is also described how the courses are built. So all of the courses have a certain amount of lessons. In our case, it's 3 big lessons, and then we have the subcategories, sub-lessons as well. We always have an assignment, collaborative assignment that the participants have to do in the little groups, and also the quiz to check whether you could acquire the knowledge when you were going through the course materials. The first cluster that was developed largely by VDU. I saw Giedre with us here. She was responsible, and Oshra as well, for the development of the course on digital resources. So there you can find all of the information you need about the open educational resources, how to use them, how to license them, why do we need them. You can find different databases that you might use for you publishing the OERs, but also finding them. And the second course was dedicated to the case study design. There we were working on the methods, on the strategies for the educators, so they could have what they need in their hands in order to develop case studies for the students. This is what Ray was mentioning. This is what Professor Schulp was mentioning as well. So in our VCL framework and our approach, we create case studies for the students that are very realistic. They're close to the reality. So they have the impression that they're not just learning theory, but they can have a chance and they can have a space where they get the practical experience. So if we once again look at the VCL framework, how it's built, we have the 4 components here. And in this course, we were dealing with the realistic cases and working tasks. So whenever we're creating the case study design, the case study itself will be solved in small groups, up to 5 members. And they all have one common goal and approximately 4 to 6 weeks to solve those tasks. And of course, also limited resources because the workload is quite high. And plus the students have other courses as well. So they have to learn how to manage that high level of workload, how to organize themselves, how to take over the responsibility, the roles. There is no one from our side telling them what to do and when to do it. The students also have to create their own project plans and make sure that they can really sustain this teamwork. From our side, what we provide them with is a cover story, so they can dive into the topic, and also the weekly tasks, and of course the surroundings, MS Teams, where they can work together, they can have their chats, calls, and the data storage. So the case study is built around the authentic case scenario that we also amplified with gamification elements. We have different tasks, and those tasks have different activities that the students have to perform, and for that they have to use also different tools. For example, sometimes we're asking them to create a concept map, so they can use Miro for that. Sometimes we're asking them to create a business plan, so they're using Excel. It's always different, and it depends on the cover story, on the case study itself, in which direction it goes. And then there are e-tutors who are supervising this process, and once the output is created by the students, the output gets evaluated by the course organizers and also partly by the e-tutors who supervise how the teams are working with each other and how is the group dynamic in general. So here we can see a typical VCL process model. So we always have a kickoff, synchronous kickoff, where we introduce participants to the case study and to what is waiting for them. Then we have the VCL phase, in which the students are working in little groups. We always start with a group agreement. The first week, you don't want to overload it with the working tasks, because the team needs time to have some team building activities to make sure that they can have a common basis foundation to work together. And then we start slowly with the subject-oriented tasks. And then we usually have a workshop where we meet again. We have a task for the students that they can work on. And once again, we have the second phase. We're deepening the topic. The tasks are getting more complicated. And after the second workshop, we have the final phase and where the tasks are the most complicated ones. And then we have another synchronous meeting where the students can present their results. Cluster number 2 was comprised of 2 courses on e-tutoring and learning analytics. So as we mentioned, e-tutors are supervising the teams while they are working collaboratively on a task or on a cover story. And for the e-tutors, it's important to have all of the knowledge that they need in order to support the team to come to the performance level, to support the team with some technological issues or comprehensive issues. And the learning analytics course is meant to have or give an overview of how the data-driven approach can be used in order to simplify the work of an e-tutor. So the e-tutor receives the data, which makes it easier for him or her to give the formative feedback. So the objectives for course number 3 on e-tutoring, facilitating and guiding online collaborative learning was to make sure that the e-tutors know how to facilitate certain processes, how to deal with conflict management, how to maybe motivate the team members, how to constantly foster the communication, the collaboration, and how to make sure that the team improves every single week. Here you can see a preview of how the course is built. So in every single course, we always have 5 components. The first component start here is the organizational part, where we have all of the Zoom links, schedules, structures of the course. There's also a Padlet where participants who are taking this course can place their picture, say a few words about them, find also the group members for collaborative task, and of course we have the group division. Then we always have 3 major lessons. All of those lessons have little subdivisions, sub-lessons. Every lesson provides also further materials that you can read or watch. And we always have the evaluative sheets, and we always wait or expect also your constructive criticism on how we could improve the course, so the course delivers even more content on one hand, but has a higher impact and brings more value to your teaching practice. And then we have the final assignments, we have the quiz, and we have the collaborative task. And at this point, I would like to ask Dorzev to turn on the microphone and share her experience as an experienced e-tutor who was taking this course, who has been working with us in other projects as an e-tutor too. Dorzev, could you share how did the OER-CODEX piloting go for you? What did you learn? Which impact did it have on your teaching practice?
Yeah, thank you, Nelly. Hi, everyone. It's an honor for me to be present with you here. Okay, at first I was meant to be a pilot, but by the end I was a learner. I learned a lot from OER-CODEX. Although I had been introduced to OER materials, for example, long before the project, but I was introduced mainly to the theoretical objectives of OER, like how to create or design or mix and remix and share the OERs. But I didn't have the real opportunity to experiment how to design, for example, an OER material, or how to share it in a repository. I would like to categorize my feedback here into, let's say, categories. The first one is raising awareness, and the second one is the knowledge transfer. It gave me the opportunity to raise my awareness on different levels, like thinking of me as a teacher, but also as a real contributor to my community, the teaching community. So I don't have to be a consumer, a mere consumer of OERs, for example. It also raised the awareness of collaborating with the team members. I could say hi to my team members. And by the way, I was not the person, the right person for collaboration. This is, I would say, honestly, but after this project, I can collaborate with people, or with my team members. And it also raised the experience, or raised awareness about how my students would live in a virtual experience. So in the virtual environment itself, they would encounter a lot of challenges while learning. By the way, all my students are online students. That's why, yeah, they learn totally online. So I had the opportunity to understand them, to understand their the challenges that they live within their learning process. And the knowledge transfer, I could transfer the knowledge that I acquired in this project to my students, not only about OER, but also about collaborative work, about everything. The I don't know, all of the things that we learned, like the tandem contract or the gamification, etc. And because they are going to be teachers, this will help them a lot in their career. What else? I also transferred this knowledge in several workshops about OER, how to design OER, and about VCL, how to design the VCL, or how to design the learning objectives of these VCLs. And I also applied what I learned, for example, in relation to the VCL, the tandem contract, or the collaborative work, the case study. Everything I learned, I applied it in one of my VCLs in this November, in partnership with my partners from Spain, from Slovenia, from Ukraine, and it was useful for not only for us as teachers, but also for the students who went through this VCL. So this is what I would like to say, but maybe in another occasion we can speak about some suggestions to upgrade the courses.
Thank you, Dorzef. This is exactly what was the goal, or what is the goal behind the OER-CODEX project. So you become the source that can distribute the knowledge, that can give it further to the students. And this is what we aim, and whenever we're inviting other educators to join our piloting sessions, it's not so you just consume, it's so you take it, you implement it, and you give it further. So there is constantly this flow of knowledge, and that you yourself become the source that can give to the students or to also other educators, other colleagues in the field. Thank you, Dorzef.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I would like to invite for another testimonial a colleague from the West Ukrainian National University, Ihor Lishinsky. Ihor, are you with us?
Yes, thank you, Nelly. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so thank you for introduction. My name is Ihor Lishinsky, and I am from West Ukrainian National University, from Ternopil, from Ukraine. At the beginning of our story, of our presentation, Nelly mentioned the consortium members of the project, and you could see that our university was not directly involved into the consortium, but we are together with the team of Dresden University. We have common initiatives, couple of common initiatives, mainly they dedicated to collaborative learning, and the team from Dresden University invite us to participate not only in the dissemination phase, not only in this event, but we were actively involved into almost all clusters which were developed from within the OER-CODEX project. So you could see that the project has a rather good dissemination and sustainability strategy. And concerning my own experience, starting from the cluster number 1, when we describe the different types of open educational resources, it gave me a lot of new information. So we all see these copyright marks, trademark rights, symbols on different websites, and nowadays different marks which are related to open educational resources are also rather common in a lot of resources. And it was interesting for me to know the classification of different resources and how to apply them, what we could use, what is not used, what is not used, what could be protected by author rights and ownership rights, and so on. So starting from the very first moments, it was very interesting and give a lot of information for application. And later we have rather interesting experience of team working. We participate in different clusters, in different levels of implementation of the courses. I was the presenter of some tasks, and it gives us a lot of information. For example, when we solve the group tasks which are related to our learning environment, which we use in university, it was a big surprise for me to get to know the variety of tools which could be used within our learning environment in university. And by solving these group assignments, we got to know about different possibilities which we are not used and which we will use in our future professional careers. And concerning the implementation of the results, currently I am use a lot of tools and teaching techniques which we look through and which we apply within the projects on my regular teaching activity within
Ihor, can you hear us? Left the room. There might be some problems or issues with electricity in Ukraine.
Sorry, I have some technical issues. I am now here, so it happened nowadays because we don't have in Ukraine rather stable internet connection and electricity. So probably because of this. To summarize, I just would like to highlight the great importance of the project for our professional activity and for the teaching activity of our team from West Ukrainian National University. Thank you.
Thank you, Ihor. We are happy that we can have our contribution towards the transformation that is happening in Ukraine right now on all levels. Apologies. So we are happy to support OER-CODEX offers the space where you can, as an educator, you can go through your own development process, get to know a lot of new tools, a lot of new knowledge. It also offers the space for those who are looking how to structure themselves, what to give further to the students. So everyone is welcome here, and this is created for you, so you can use this source and to apply and to take what you need in order to go through your own professional development and also disseminate it further to your students or to your colleagues. The next the e-tutoring. We were talking about the course on e-tutoring, and here we can see once again the overview of the VCL. So this is one of the fourth components within the framework. If you plan to run VCLs with your students, it's important that you take into account that you need that all of them are important. The case study is important. The e-tutors who can accompany the process are important too. The technical platform, the space where the students can collaborate with each other is important as well, and also the data-driven approach that supports the e-tutors when they're giving the formative feedback to the teams. So the e-tutors, just briefly, we would like to give you some insights into the content of the course. The e-tutors can be defined in different ways, but they are the first point of contact for students in the VCL. So they have a reference person they can contact in case of any technical problems, in case of any conflicts, or anything that they need in order to be able to perform the task. Very important, the e-tutor is not a part of the team, and the e-tutor does not give solutions to the tasks. So this is rather an observer, a coach, a mentor who makes sure that the team that he or she is supervising is supported with all of the processes that are needed. So here we have the overview of how the team formation happens. What is the relationship between the e-tutors and the teams? So above here we have the students, the participants who join the VCL. They are afterwards selected and separated in little teams. Those teams have different disciplines. They're intercultural. So we always make sure that we mix students from different countries together, that we also have different disciplines that they represent. And each of the groups chooses the project manager, and the project manager is in charge of maintaining the content with the contact with the e-tutors, and to make sure that all of the questions are answered and that the team is able to perform and to work well together. The e-tutors have 5 areas of support, of responsibilities. It's the specialized support, so everything that is referring to clarification of questions or assistance to have the assistance with the comprehension issues. Also the technical support. So the e-tutor helps the participants to go and navigate through MS Teams to choose appropriate collaborative tools for their work. It's the personnel and group-related support. The e-tutors are assisting the teams with giving them feedback on their individual and group performance and support in case of any conflict issues. It's the organizational support. So the e-tutor is supervising the deadlines, the submission of the documents, and of course the evaluation. We will show you the evaluation sheets that the e-tutors have to fill out every single week. Here you can here you see the example of how the e-tutor how the communication with the e-tutor is happening. So all of our teams are collaborating on MS Teams, and in MS Teams, when we have different groups created for the students, we also have the e-tutor communication channel, and there the students can ask all of the questions that they have. They can notify the e-tutor that the tasks were submitted, and sometimes the questions do require further consultation, so the e-tutor has to contact the course organizer to make sure that the questions are answered correctly. However, the e-tutors do not give the content-related feedback, and they also do not work on the results together with the teams. Here's an example or an excerpt, a little piece of the observation evaluative sheets. Here you see that on the first page, the e-tutor is evaluating the group, not every individual within the group, but the whole group in general. We usually have 6 tasks, sometimes it's 8 tasks, but they're all written here above next to the maximum score and awarded percentages. And the e-tutors go category per category, making sure that they can assess the contribution of the team, and at the end, when the team is done with the VCL, all of those components are calculated together, and we have the Excel sheet that calculates the percentages and gives the final credit to the students. Here you see the categories that are meant for the individual observations. So here the e-tutor also observes not just the whole team, but every single individual and every single participant as well. How the participant contributed to the activities of the group, how active he was or she was while performing the tasks, whether everything was fulfilled when it comes to the agreements. So the eaters have to observe a lot, and that's why we have the learning analytics and the conversation agents agent technology to support them with the data, so it gets easier for them to evaluate the groups and the individuals. And we have cluster number 3. Here we had 3 courses. The formative assessment course, that is super important for the e-tutors, so they learn how to design feedback, in a way that it's effective, that it's accepted by the group, and that the group actually wants to implement it. How to assess using learning analytics, how to track the progress, how to manage all of those data, how to make data-driven decisions as well. And the last course was on triggering self-reflection through conversational agents. Here we were studying the design of a conversational agent in a way that it can trigger the self-reflection and also foster a deeper learning and self-awareness of the students. So the objectives for course number 5 on formative assessment was to first of all understand the difference between the formative and the summative assessment, know how to design the formative assessment activities, which tools to use in order to deliver this type of feedback, and also develop continuous improvement strategies, so the e-tutor develops his or her technique of giving formative assessment, and then the team also accepts that feedback, implements feedback, and gives feedback to the e-tutor on how the feedback was given as well. Here we also see the common structure of the course. So that course had 3 lessons, and in the first one we were diving into understanding formative assessment, looking at examples, at the different platforms that can be used. We were then going deeper into the design of the formative feedback, and then how does the formative feedback gets realized within the VCL and OCL arrangements. And at this point, I would like to invite Michael Dombrovsky, if you're here with us, to share some words about your experience.
Thank you, Nelly. Firstly, I want to start my conversation with thanksgiving to join the network of interinstitutional interaction of collaborative learning and educational content creation. I was prompted to participate in the project by the search for opportunities to develop my competencies and skills, and I want to integrate online learning into my educational strategies. Having some experience, I'm looking for acquiring didactic and methodological knowledge and technological know-how and accessible content, especially regarding innovative approaches to blended and flipped learning, because it was really interesting to me like a teacher. I'm really attracted to the proposed conventivism idea and appropriate teaching method for the digital age, because it's emphasizing social interaction as a key element of the learning process and obtaining results in a direct response to my inquiries like teacher and academic staff. Also, I would to add it that transition to digital education, which is ongoing now, according to my experience, is a very complex challenge and requires the development of cross-functional capacity of educators. So it is not only about the mechanical exchange of information, for example, in some digital networks, but it's rather the implementation of social and technical interaction in a way that ensures sustainable development, increasing the capacity and readiness of higher education institutions. And also, I want to add that in the modern learning environment, it should be not only useful, but we need to make education interesting and preferably exciting in order to win the competition for the attention of possible education service seekers. I have a great impression from this project, and especially I want to say about part which is devoted or regarding to digital teaching and learning methodology, focusing on collaborative online learning. Also interesting to me was creation of course models like open educational resources. Also, I want to say about development of case study and how to apply the game approach to learning process. And last one is assessing with digital learning analytics. A few words about possible improvements from my side. I consider it necessary to have more examples of best practice, some kind of, let's say, video cookbook, to exchange experience in the style of, I remember in DDR was very interesting sportive games for youth. It's called Join In or Join With Us, Do With Us and Do It Better. So it's a good style to develop this course, from my opinion. Also, it was doing this in a double loop, when first the educational task is performed by teams independently, then we will engage into advanced practice maybe from the best team, and second phase, carry out a project with improvement. It will be allowed to us to have some consolidated success in learning. To finish it, I want to say thank you for encouraging creative teaching practice and for promoting a culture of exchange and adaptation in the modern educational community. I look forward for new models and strive for new competences and implementation it in my teaching practice. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Mikhailo. This is once again, I would like to highlight the beauty of this project is because you as a pilot participant, you're the co-creator. We do take the feedback from our pilot participants, we implement it. And whenever you join and submit the evaluative sheets or participate in the focus group discussion and you have the ideas, those ideas, they get implemented at a certain stage. So we do not position ourselves as those who know it best. We do have a source of knowledge that we're sharing with you, and we're also looking forward to hearing, to receiving your feedback. So you can show us, or maybe you have an idea on how we could co-create the space and how we could improve or change the course. So all of the pilot participants, you are co-creators in this process. Thank you, Michael. And we're going to have just a few slides about the content of the course and formative feedback. So within this course, as I mentioned, one of the goals was to have a clear understanding of what formative feedback is, what are the characteristics of the formative feedback, and how it can be used in order to improve learning. Because the formative feedback gives the possibility to the student to adjust his or her behavior And in comparison to the summative assessment that comes at the end of the course, for example, the formative feedback is there to support the student to go through this transformation process and to engage in that learning journey. Within the VCL, we have different dimensions in which the feedback can be given. There is feedback that is given from the e-tutor to the group. There's also feedback that the group members are giving to each other. The e-tutors are giving feedback to each other too. They're sharing their experiences and sharing their best practices. We also have the course organizers who are interacting with the e-tutors and give them feedback or receive feedback from them. So feedback is one of the formative feedback is one of the central components within the VCL, within the online collaborative learning. And it's important to not to underestimate it and to make sure that the participants, the e-tutors, the students, the educators know how to design it in a way that it is accepted, that is effective, and that it improves or helps the group to improve the results. So within the course, we are also sharing the design recommendations with you on how to organize the style and tone in your feedback, how to which content to put as a part of your feedback, how to formulate it in a way that it's accepted and that the students are actually willing to get it, and in which forms you can do that. Now we are slowly getting finished with the clusters that have piloted so far, and we are moving forward to the new course. As I mentioned, while we were piloting the courses, we realized that there is a huge gap between the course digital resources and case study design. And this gap we decided to fill with the course and digital competencies, where you will learn more about 21st century skills, about DICCOMP Edu, about COIL initiatives, about the VCL approach, how to organize it, how to implement it in your institution or a part of your course offering. And therefore, we would like to invite you to become the pilots. Everyone who is attending this event here, we would like to give you the opportunity to join us for the piloting in January. This course is worth 2 ECTS if you go through all of the lessons, if you submit the collaborative task, if you work on it in the groups and then present it and submit it, you will be able to receive a certificate of achievement. So if you wish to join the piloting, you can scan the QR code and you can get registered. We will also send you all of the links via email. You will receive the recording, the slides, and also the links for the registrations. So if you cannot register right now, you can do it later on. And we would be very happy to welcome you, to have you with us, and to have this basically the last piloting phase, because we are now finalizing cluster 4. We're done with piloting. Our project is finishing next year in February. So this is the last call, the last opportunity to be a part of the piloting, to co-create the course, because afterwards the alpha versions will be finalized. We will implement all of the feedback that we got so far, and the courses will be accessible openly. You will be able to access them, but there will be no piloting environment that we're going to provide. So if you want to join us, you can scan the QR code and later on also use the link that is going to be embedded in the email and join us. We will be looking forward to having you on board. And the last but not least, the upcoming project activities. We still have one multiplier event next week. This multiplier event will be focusing on cluster number 4, advanced methods to encourage learning. And there we will be diving into the topics of gamification and virtual reality. This cluster is supervised by IMC CREMS, and I saw that Sarita was with us. Sarita, are you still here?
Yes.
Maybe you could say just a few words about the cluster and invite the participants to join us on the pilot during the multiplier event next week.
Okay, so thanks for introducing me, Nelly. So next week on 20th of December at 6 p.m. like today, we have a multiplier event for the last cluster 4. This is related to the gamification, which would be about how to integrate gamification in the digital learning in the online collaborative learning environment. So I hope you will be there. You'll be participating in the multiplier event, and I will be presenting about the techniques, tools, how we can integrate gamification in the online courses, focusing on how we can have those in the collaborative environment.
Thank you, Sarita. We're inviting you to join us. We will send the registration link via email. The event will be taking place at 4 p.m., not 6 p.m. Careful. So you can join us next Friday and stay with us for another 1.5 hours and dive into the topic of gamification and virtual reality. And the next event and the last event within our project is going to be the final conference that will take place in January, on January 14th in Piran, Slovenia. You can also join us online. There we will be presenting the final results of the project and presenting everything that we have done in the past 3 years. Nada, are you still with us?
Yes, hello.
Hello, maybe you could...
Yes, I'm still with you, and I already posted the invitation to the chat for the final conference, and you are sharing now the final program, which is not yet, let's say, adjusted on the website of Emuni, but you are welcome either to come in Piran, Slovenia, or join online, and the final conference will be on the 14th of January.
Thank you, Nada.
And you are going to receive the certificates of attendance.
Great. That would be an amazing motivation, I believe, for a lot of colleagues. Thank you, Nada. That would be it from our side today, and now we're open for questions, if there are any.
There is a question in the chat on the exact dates when the piloting of the last course starts.
We will notify about this next week, beginning next week, about the dates. Great. I see that there are no questions so far. You can also reach us via email. You have my email. In case you're going to have questions, you can send us a text. Otherwise, we would like to express our gratitude for that you stayed with us for the last 1.5 hours, that you spent your evening with us. Thank you very much for being a part of OER-CODEX, and we're looking forward to seeing you as pilots or to see you at our multiplier event or at our final conference, and we will be looking forward to staying in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nelly, for the moderation.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank all of you for participation, and we hope for further connection and collaboration, maybe in other contexts. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.